Hey guys, okay, so I'm going to go over the InBody and you guys can follow along on your result sheets. So this first thing that we're going to pay attention to is the body composition analysis. This is looking up, that file number that's on the scale. This is really breaking down what makes up that number. So we've got your intracellular water, or water inside of your cells, and then your extracellular water outside of your cells. And those two are going to make up your total body water. So these are pounds of water that you have in and outside of your cells. And the main thing that we want to look for here is making sure that this extracellular water this value doesn't get too close to the intracellular water level. And really that's because once that starts to get high, that means that you've got total body inflammation going on or swelling. So, we want to keep that number in check. Usually the more muscle mass you have, the more water inside of your cells that you have. So that will continue to rise, and that number can rise too, but we just want to make sure that they both rise if they do go up. So down here, we've got the extracellular water to total body water analysis, and this is kind of a breakdown here of a range that you should be in for making sure that your hydration levels are good. This isn't like, oh, I drink enough water. This is, again, looking at that ratio between water inside and outside of your cells. So if you see that that your values are outside of 0.36 to 0.39, like if it's above 0.39, that means you've got total body inflammation going on, lots of swelling. So we want to take that into account. So that's your water levels up here. Then we've got your dry lean mass. That's just protein and minerals that are in the body. And so a lot of times, we can look at this to see the amount of muscle mass gained. So if this number goes up, that usually means that you're also putting on muscle mass. So that combined with total body water is going to be your lean body mass. And then that combined with your body fat mass right here is going to make up your overall weight. Then over here we have your muscle fat analysis. And this is made up of your weight, your skeletal muscle mass, or how much muscle is inside of your body, and then your body fat mass. So the shape that we're looking for here is a D shape. We want to see where the skeletal muscle mass is in the black, and then the rest are in the gray. So this gray area here, this is kind of your ideal. So this is not, like, these numbers here are not pounds. These are a percentage. So ideally we'd roughly be, in a place where this skeletal muscle mass is, like I said, in the black, because that's having kind of like extra money in the bank, especially, as we get older. We want to make sure we got plenty of muscle mass, not just enough to just sustain where we're at right now. So again, a lot of times people will come in with there'll be an I shape or a C shape, where this will be a lot less and these two will be a lot more. So again, this D shape is what we're really fighting for. Then we have the obesity analysis, and this is just on here to show you that BMI is usually very different from percent body fat, and usually it's pretty inaccurate. So, on here, obviously this just takes into account weight and height, and so somebody could be really well muscled and look like they're going towards the obese category because they just weigh more, but they could totally not have a lot of body fat percentage, so that number is thrown off. Or you could have somebody that's really they look lean, but they don't have, they have hardly any muscle mass and a lot of body fat, but they look fine because they don't weigh a lot. So they're just as at risk for somebody that does have a lot of body fat percentage. So we want to make sure that those numbers are accurate that we're looking at. So you can see the difference here. That's a really, really big difference. And so for women, a good range to be in for percent body fat is going to be somewhere around 22% to 25%, and then getting close to 30% is going to start putting them at the obese category. And then for men, it's going to be somewhere around 15 to 20% is a good range, and then above 20 is going to start putting them in the obese category. So a really athletic, if you want that athletic look, you're going to have to get somewhere around, for women, that's going to have to be 18% to 15%. It's really lean, and then men is going to be somewhere around 10%. So men and women have different needs. Men have an essential body fat of 3%, so that's just how much fat they need to survive. So you really don't see people walking around with that kind of body fat unless they're like, you know, doing a bodybuilding competition and they're only that for like 3 days or something ridiculous. So so that's for men, and then women's going to be somewhere around 12%. So keep that in mind too. You do need an amount of body fat to keep your body functioning properly. So then we have the segmental lean analysis over here. And this is looking at, so I'm going to adjust this a little bit. This is looking at the amount of muscle that's inside of your body. So it breaks down your extremities. So in the right arm, this will tell you the pounds of muscle that you have, and then your left arm here. And then we also want to look at these percentages. So the 137 to 136, we don't want to see anything greater than a 6% difference between the two for the arms. And then in the legs here, we got right leg, this is the amount of muscle, and then the percentages are here. We don't want to see anything greater than a 3% difference. So if we're getting close to those numbers, that just means you've got to potentially do some more unilateral work just to help you increase strength in that that one side that's kind of lagging behind. And that's going to be helpful even for us as trainers to look and see, okay, you know, is there room for injury here because, you know, one side is compensating a lot more for the other. So this is really helpful. And also just to see, okay, you know, are you slowly putting on muscle mass in these areas? So then of course you have your trunk here, again, the pounds of muscle in the trunk. So again, we want to see all these in the black here. Again, this is the ideal range, the gray is, but we want to see everything, all these numbers in the black. So we already talked about this. This is your body composition history. So this is gonna, every time we do the InBody, this is gonna keep track of your weight, skeletal muscle mass, body fat percentage, and then your hydration levels. So that's going to create a graph here, and we want to make sure that we're looking at the trend. We want to see, okay, generally, are you going in the right direction? Are you going up in your muscle mass? Are you going down in your body fat? We don't want to just look at these numbers as like absolute, you know, and just say, okay, it's exactly that. So, excuse me, the time of day that you weigh in, you know, will play into effect. You know, if you've eaten or drank before, that will, you know, you have to take that into account. So just different things like that. We just want to look and see, okay, generally, are you going in the right direction? Then up here, we have the body fat and lean body mass control. So this, according to the InBody, will tell you whether or not you need to lose or gain body fat and lean body mass. And then we have segmental fat analysis. This is just the inverse of this segmental lean analysis. And then last two things, we've got basal metabolic rate. So this is the amount of calories that your body burns if you were in a coma or sleeping all day and not moving at all. So this is really helpful because, you know, especially as we're looking at, you know, how much you're eating in a day. Most people, like 1,200 calories is like a really popular number to throw out. And a lot of times people will want to eat really low because, oh, you lose weight. But your body needs a certain amount to function properly. And then of course it burns more because you're getting in and out of your car and you're fidgeting and you're eating and you're doing your daily activities and exercising. So it burns more than this. So you want to make sure that you're not eating below this number for sure. If you do that, you know, you'll obviously start seeing results in the beginning, but that's not sustainable for your body. And that's where, you know, people kind of wonder, okay, is my metabolism broken? You can't break your metabolism, but it does slow down and become very kind of more efficient, which you want your metabolism to be very inefficient. You want it to need a lot of calories and it to burn through it. You don't want to just function on life where you can like eat barely anything and it just runs properly, right? So we want to pay attention to this, make sure you're not eating below this number here. And then visceral fat level, this is going to be the fat that's around your organs. So, you know, if you think about going to the store and, you know, you look at the steak and it's super well marbled, the more visceral fat you have, the more marbling you have around your organs. So this number is really, really important to pay attention to because once you start to get at 10 or above, that puts you at, there's a greater correlation between having high visceral fat and having metabolic diseases like, you know, stroke and diabetes and heart disease and things like that. So we want to make sure that fat is staying away from the heart, not encasing your organs and keeping this low. And again, that's going to be fixed with nutrition. and exercise will help that too, but nutrition is going to make a really big difference. So that is it for the InBody.